Fran Henke. I'm the convener of the Mornington Peninsula Post-Polio Support Group and I think Vice Chair of the Polio Network Victoria, Australia. We're talking today about nutrition under the headline Food for Thought. It strikes me odd that a short, portly polio survivor is speaking on nutrition today, but we've been in the past addressed by slim young things in leotards telling us what to eat and when, difficult to take seriously. Many years ago, recognising we needed to better understand diet, the Mornington Peninsula Group invited a nutritionist to address our morning tea meeting. She took one look at the table, groaning with cakes and biscuits, and said, "All that should go." Well, she went, "We don't have guest speakers anymore. Simple." The point is, after nearly 40 years of living with the late effects of polio, we know what food our body needs to keep us going, what food can be swallowed, what amount of comfort food should be indulged or not. We know when we have lazy bowel muscles, needing lots of fruit or prunes or licorice. We know when we're running out of puff, when coffee might help, when a sugar hit is needed, when protein is essential. What movement we need to function, when a really decent roast dinner is called for with wine and dessert. But there needs to be a voice of reason on which to fall back when crazy craves kick in. So here goes. This is the voice of reason department. I was asked to do this chat on grounds of writing the Polio Day cookbook, which we have here, plus a chapter on eating for energy in life skills for polios, which is a useful handbook that's still selling online out of New York and was translated into Mandarin. So this is a handy little book still. And that the Eating for Energy chapter begins with a quote from Dr. Richard Bruno. "People with disabilities pay a higher price for lack of self-care than do people without disabilities. For those who use wheelchairs, good eating habits and proper nutrition are essential, not only for good health, but also to prevent bowel and urinary problems, to prevent weight gain, and to maintain a decent level of energy." Note those 4 points: general good health, bowel and urinary problems, weight gain, and level of energy. He went on, "Post-polio syndrome requires survivors to use new assistive devices or age we discarded years ago to slow down, to rest during the day. Problem is, polio survivors are hard-working super-achievers who have pushed ourselves beyond our physical limits and to allow no time for self-indulgent luxuries like food. Conclusion? Food is good. Eating properly doesn't lead to becoming fat, it actually reduces PPS symptoms. Is he correct? Of course, but who else can't be bothered cooking at night? Why? Because we're running our nervous systems on half a tank of gas. About 50% of all brain stems and motor neurons were killed decades ago by the virus. What's worse, the metabolic apparatus, the internal power plant of neurons that survived the original polio virus infection, was severely damaged. Therefore, what we eat is critical. I wrote in 2007 on losing 22 kilos. This came about at 4'8" 3/4", eating the same size meals as a 6-foot husband. I weighed in at 84 kilos. Absurd. Hated myself, of course, hated the tents I chose to wear, but realised now I was also eating madly badly for energy. We didn't know in those days that I was reacting to gross fatigue. Eventually, something triggered the need for change. I took on one of those Tony Ferguson diets with shakes, and it worked well, providing enough protein to keep me going. Reaching 20 kilos off, I faltered, naturally, but a friend encouraged me to pitch for 22 kilos off, and I made it. I went to art school for 3 years, and it changed my life. Okay, I put back 10 kilos, but I've left 7 of those, thanks to new swallowing difficulties, and we'll get to that shortly. So what does work for us? A USA Post-Polio Institute study found that normal levels of blood sugar were not enough to fuel polio survivors remained remaining impaired neurons. That's where protein for breakfast comes in. Protein provides the long-lasting, slow-release supply of blood sugar throughout the day. A study shows those who have protein for breakfast reported fewer PPS symptoms because their fuel tank stayed full longer. They didn't need to fill up throughout the day with short-lasting sugar fixes. Dr. Bruno recommends an egg for breakfast. Sound, of course, but after having my hip replaced, adrenals stabbed by an epidural, swallowing problems set in and I couldn't face eggs unless chopped and concealed with a lettuce in a sandwich. So how many others have swallowing issues, choking or hiccuping? Our support group founder, Dennis Lloyd, developed them badly, and he was really fading away, unable to eat, until we suggested spaghetti bowl to his wife, and he loved it and had it every meal. For me, running out of energy around 4 p.m, if we wanted to eat Mr. Henke cooks dinner, what would I like, he asks, regular reply, something hot and runny. I'd been saying this for ages before realising I had new swallowing problems. I went to a speech therapist who watched me slowly, painfully eat sweet biscuits, suggested various foods for dysphagia. Swallowing problems have a posh name, of course. The Mississippi University Medical Center says a dysphagia diet includes foods that are easier to chew and move around in your mouth that will reduce the risk of food and liquids going the wrong way, aka hot and runny. Now, we mentioned up front urinary problems. Which foods help the bladder? Pears are a good source of fibre, bananas, good toppings for cereals or smoothies, green beans, pumpkin, potatoes, and lean proteins such as low-fat beef, pork, chicken, turkey, and fish. Now, bowels. We're really getting basic here, but that's okay. We're among friends. Anyone who's been through hemorrhoids will not want them ever again. We may have lazy bowel muscles, so need the brat diet, bananas, rice, applesauce, and toast. Recommended for a range of digestive issues, can help with both constipation and diarrhea. High fibre cereals such as bran flakes, wheat bix, porridge, muesli, and shredded wheat. Natural laxatives. Chia seeds are particularly high in fibre. Berries, legumes such as beans, chickpeas, lentils, peas, peanuts. Increasing water and probiotic intake such as yogurt or supplements, while limiting other dairy, caffeine and heavily processed foods. Beneficial drinks for constipation include prune juice, lemon juice, apple juice and cranberry juice. In the olden days, when the Henkes could afford to holiday, Fiji was our go-to place. Breakfast on the buffet at the hotel featured muesli, fresh fruits, berries, and yogurt. I fully embraced that. So lunch daily, in a special bowl, mind. Always use your best china and silver to dignify dining, even if it's this kind of stuff. Carmen's muesli, butter, banana, Carmen's muesli, banana, berries, fruit of the day, maybe pears or kiwi fruit, topped with yogurt, dusted with cinnamon or nutmeg. Fresh and tasty, and it makes up for any lapses of breakfast or dinner and keeps the innards working too. Eaten slowly while undertaking crosswords. What else can mess up urinary and bowel functions? Medications. Recently was advised to take vitamin D and turmeric. Turmeric for reducing inflammation, which resolved the problem with the neuralgia on the side of my face. And they worked. I had more energy and the neuralgia disappeared, but constipation set in, aggravating painful hemorrhoids. This made me very wary about the side effects of meds. Visiting pharmacists came to our house to check our old bottles and threw out old things. Of course, that made us go to the pharmacy to buy new stuff, but never mind. She advised taking senna and supplements at different times of the day, so currently taking 3 senna plus 3 prunes, and that works. Exercise is a big challenge for us. Of course, in order to process the food we need to move as much and effectively as our bodies allow to process what goes in and must come out. We've been ear-bashed on exercise as much as on diet, Another thing we have to work out for ourselves. Dr. Steve de Graaf recommended I swim at least twice a week. Swimming is good because the body is supported while faulty arms and legs, shoulders, hips move weightlessly. Being a tad claustrophobic from days of being tied down and not wanting to be bumped, I go to the pool early, 7 a.m. I walk down the Hastings jetty, which is about 500 yards, on my stick with camera, photographing the sunrise and seabirds. That gets the body moving, cooled from bed, and able to face 29-degree water. Every morning in the water, looking at the clouds, I remind, never forget how good this feels. Our chiro recommended backstroke to help shoulders, which are very painful from years of overuse, and that has helped. Legs and feet are recording stronger ratings from Polio Services Victoria's strengths test, to their surprise. So find an exercise that suits you, that you enjoy, something that puts you among like-minded people. One of the comments that Steve de Graaf made on his notes about my swimming was that it was good for my good humour and detail and contact with the community. So it's really important to be among people when you're exercising that you like being with. At our pool, people look out for each other. Then they go off together and have to a cafe and have hot chocolate and muffins. Yeah, they do, and that's allowed because they've worked it off. There's one more tip: jelly beans. We have a very nice crystal jar, kept full by my husband, ostensibly for our cleaning lady Lisa. However, when blood sugars drop, as they do for both of us, making us feel very flat and weary, 3 pharmacy jelly beans do the trick. 5 for a long car journey. Why do pharmacies sell jelly beans? They owe their consistent position at the chemist front counters to their legitimate medical function. Unlike other jelly beans, glucogel are made from glucose, the form of sugar most easily absorbed into the bloodstream. Had we been together this polio day, I would have provided small take-home bags of jelly beans. So pop out now and get your own. Bye.